Good morning, everyone, and thank you for waiting. Welcome to the earnings call to disclose the results in the third quarter of 2021 at Agrogalaxy. I'd like to highlight that if you need simultaneous translation, we have this tool available on our platform. To access, please select Interpretation through the globe icon at the bottom part of the screen and choose your preference language, Portuguese or English. For those listening to the earnings call in English, the option of changing the audio, if you just select the unmute original audio. As mentioned, this earnings call is being recorded and will be provided on the IR website for the company, where you can find the complete material with our earnings call and release. You can also download our presentation on the chat icon in English as well. During this call, all participants will have their microphones off. Then we'll begin the Q&A session. To submit a question, click on the Q&A icon on the bottom part of your screen. Write your name, company, and language to be able to enter the queue. As you are announced, a request to activate your microphone will appear on the screen. Then you must activate your microphone to submit questions. We'd like to let you know that all of your questions should be submitted at once. All of the information in this presentation and possible future statements that may be made during the earnings call related to business perspectives, forecasts, and operational targets and financial targets for AgroGalaxy are beliefs and assumptions from the company's management, as well as information that's currently available. Future statements are not a guarantee of performance. They involve risks, uncertainties, and assumptions because they are related to future events and thus involve risks. Uncertainties and assumptions really depend on circumstances that may or not occur. Investors may understand that general economic conditions, market conditions, and other operational factors may affect the future performance at AgroGalaxy and lead to results that differ materially from those presented in those future statements. Today, we have presence from the executives in the company, Wellis, the chairman, and Mauricio Pulici, the financial director and RI director, Sheila, the director responsible for the operations in the south and southeast, Marco Teixeira, the director responsible for the north and northeast operations, Alex Curibara, the integration director, and Danielle, our RI director. And now I'll pass on the word to Mr. Wellis Pascual to welcome you all and make some important highlights. So thank you, everyone. Good morning. And I am very pleased to come here today with my team and present the results in the third quarter of 2021 at AgroGalaxy. Our growth through the acquisitions and also integration that was impeccable of the companies acquired with our organic growth and total focus and productivity besides to the good favorable conditions allowed us to deliver results that we would like to present in this event to you. We would like to present some slides where we can see how we've been structuring AgroGalaxy and how we are structured currently and where this company is headed. Our history for the consolidation of this sector in the agricultural inputs in Brazil has been a very successful history that started in 2016 with the acquisitions of companies that were iconic in their regions and areas of performance. We can mention Rural Brasil, AgroSem, AgroFerrari, Grão de Ouro, Sementes Campeã, Boa Vista, Ferrari Zagato, where together with Boa Vista, we've already integrated all of our operations this year as well. Uh, Besides Agrogalaxy, a company that we filmed and where we established a contract in September for the acquisition that was just approved by CAGI, the antitrust body, where we will be integrating and closing by the beginning of January in next year. So how are we organized currently? We service over 22,000 customers. We operate in 9 Brazilian states, and we are going to be at some moment in a very short period of time rupturing over 500 technical consumers in the field. We have operations in over 1,000 municipalities in Brazil, covering an area of about 10 million hectares that have been planted, and we are very strong in the grains operation, helping our customers with the storage and trading of these grains, setting a strong partnership with the main trading companies in Brazil. Soy and corn represent about 94% of our operations, with a bit of coffee as well in the states of Minas and São Paulo, as some other crops in the winter period in the south of Brazil. We are closing the third quarter with 126 stores, covering about 2,500 kilometers in Brazil. We also have 29 silos for the storage of grains and 8 units for the production of seeds, where we focus our business on the supply of agricultural inputs that our customers need in order to handle and work on the origination of these grains. I would also like to show you that how some of these acquisitions have impacted our strategy and businesses as a whole. Daniel, there. All right. So here you can see on the slide on the left side and the first column that Agrogalaxy in this moment, um, without Boa Vista, Ferrarizagato, and Agrocati that I just mentioned. So as you can see, there's been an impact in these excellent acquisitions for the company. When we talk about the revenue of these inputs, considering the year of 2020 as a basis, these companies all add on to our revenue about 37% of the value that we would have if we were just Agrogalaxy, which would be 2.7 billion reais. With these companies, we've been able to reach almost 3.8 billion reais, considering as a basis the year of 2020. If we look at the revenue, well, this is about the inputs, right? If we look at the revenue of grain, we can also see an impact of about 41%, leaving about 1.4 billion reais and reaching 2 billion reais with the companies acquired. And in the total revenue, went from 4.1 billion reais and we reached about 5.8 billion reais with the growth through acquisitions of about 38%. We can also notice the same impact in the stores, going from 93 stores and reaching a total of 126 stores up until then. So now specifically about agricultural defense materials, we've reached 1.2 billion, we reached 1.7 billion. So we also grew through these acquired companies uh, by 38%. We also see the same impact, obviously, in the regions that are covered, as well the planted areas in the total capacity for the storage and the volume of grains originated, as well as the CTVs or the technical consultants that work on the field. So now, as we talk about the seasonality of our business, I believe it's very important to make sure all of you have this vision on how this business is operated in the field. We have two very specific moments in this business. So in the green bars, you can see the moment when you build the portfolio of orders that starts off in the first quarter of the year and it heads to the second quarter. So when we consider the revenue, which is the moment where it's the opposite, right? So the revenue grows a lot in the third and the fourth quarter of the year. With this, we can explain a bit of the seasonality. And when we have the portfolio of orders, we can already have a good idea of how our business will perform in the year, but this is still not visible for the overall market. So when we split the harvest in the summer and the winter, we can see through the product platforms how you continue with the plantations and revenue. So we start off with the fertilizers and then seeds, defensive materials or pesticides, and then some specialties um, that are products especially for fertilizers and other products in this phase of development of the crop that we continue to do when the crops are established and at their main moment of development. So when we look at the winter harvest that starts to be planted in the first quarter of the month of January of each year, when we started also with a strong delivery of fertilizers along with seeds, defensives, and also specialties. So now as we talk about the summary of the market and how we're positioned currently for the harvest in Brazil, we are noticing that we're headed towards having Brazil with a major grains harvest, which could reach some level that's close to 290 million tons produced in the 2021 and 2022 harvest. So soy will be most of this plantation with an estimated area of 40 million hectares and a forecast for production of 140 million tons. The plantation and the harvest has been behaving very well. The climate has been favorable to agricultural and farmer operations. But we already have about 75% of the soy already planted in the development phase. And this creates a major opportunity for the plantation of the winter harvest that was so harmed by the beginning of this year when we had the 2021 harvest. Now, as we also have an expectation that is very positive for corn, which should be planting a bit more than 4 million hectares in the summer harvest and about 16 million hectares in the harvest of winter. So this is going to lead to production of about 117, 118 millions of tons of corn, which really helps us to have a better balance in the supply of these grains internally and also help to make it feasible for the export. So when we talk about the supply of inputs, even with some restrictions and delays of products that we've noticed in the market, we've already delivered about 94% of the fertilizers that our customers need for the summer harvest. And when it comes to herbicides, these products have supplies that have been a bit delayed this year with some delay. We are one of the market companies that most has been able to work on this scarcity of products, and we have a rate of delays that's very small. So we've noticed that some companies in the market have even more than 20% delay in the supplies of these products. In AgroGalaxy, this number is smaller than 3%. So, as we talk about the main highlights in the third quarter, no doubt the consolidation of Ferrari Zagato from September 1st onwards was one of the main highlights, with an integration plan that is really well conducted and delivering results as planned. So we also added on about 33 stores in 2021. 13 stores were open. 20 of them were also coming from the acquisitions at Boa Vista with 6 stores and Ferrari Zagato with 14 stores. And we've continued our expansion plan. I mentioned that we have 126 stores and we will end the year with more than 130 stores. We also see our impact in the integration and in capturing the synergies of the companies acquired. At Boa Vista, we've been able to double the amount and volume of sales for specialties in this company in this period from the beginning of the year all the way here, which is extremely important for our profitability. We also were very firm in our digitalization strategy for the company. We were able to have about 712 million reais in the third quarter of our revenue through digital processes. We've launched also our app for producers where we already have over 4,000 registered producers covering an area of over 3.5 million hectares in these customers. I've already mentioned the delivery of fertilizers. That's extremely important. And another factor that's also important was the signing of our purchase contract at AgroCat, as mentioned, where that we've already approved by the antitrust body, CACI, and we'll start in the beginning of next year, to have the closing, and we'll bring this company into the AgroGalaxy system. AgroCat gives us a privileged position for work in Mato Grosso, but also in Rondônia. With this company, we're able to reach the geographic footprint that we were looking for in these regions where agribusiness really has significant importance. I'm going to stop here and I will pass on the word to Mauricio Pulici, our CFO, so that he can give you some more details on our financial performance. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Good day to all. It's a pleasure to be here, and I want to present these numbers that are very significant. It was the best quarter in the history of Galaxy, and we are going to be covering most of these details. The operational highlights here, we grew compared to September last year, 35%, and CTVs 34, 37 in customers, and the main highlight here is that 42% growth in productivity per CTV. So we see digital work as well, giving up room in the agenda of this CTV, which is this technical field seller, so a consultant, so that he can attend more customers and be more productive in his work. I'm going to talk about the prices more, but we see that the volume per field consultant has also grown, not only the value. Great. So now we just have some highlights here about the revenue. We grew 95% in inputs and 63% in grains. Organically, we grew 68% in inputs. from these 68, 31% came from price. So we've seen growth in prices of fertilizers and also growth in seeds, especially in these other categories, and maybe a little less in specialties and defensive. But we grew 37% in volume, and this is in the same base. So 68 organically and another 27% from Ferrari Zagato and Boa Vista, which were not in this comparison basis. And I want to remind you that Ferrari Zagato just has numbers from September here. So this does not include August or July. So the growth was very strong, but obviously we still don't have the total from the quarter. For Ferrari Zagato, when we consider specialties, we had an improvement of zero point 0.6 in the share of these specialties, but we have more revenue from seeds. So the window for plantations is ideal. Last year we had a lack of rain in the third quarter, but this year we saw that rain was really ideal, and this leads us to have a very positive harvest, and I anticipated also seeds because this improved the mix from 24 to 28%. We have a portfolio of orders that's still very healthy, and it demonstrates and indicates that the fourth quarter will also be very positive. In October, we already had a good month, but the order portfolio is very healthy despite the anticipation I mentioned in regards to the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter last year was stronger because of this, but we still have a portfolio of orders that's very healthy. When we talk about margins, we grew almost 113% in the input margin. The worst in the percentage margin got better in margins and volumes. And we had a mismatch of some hedge contracts that we had to protect the margins of the operations, where we have the liquidation in a different period as the commercialization or trading. So this is a temporal factor. And if we look at the 9 months, we can see this reduction, and the effect is not so significant. And the other point is that the grains margin is really based on reais per sacks, and with the price going up, the percentage also dropped. We were able to also dilute the expenses a lot, so we increased less expenses than revenue. So we had a reduction of administrative expenses and others, dropping 2 percentage points. In EBITDA, the growth was 81%, among which organically we grew 37%. So this was strong growth in the same base of companies in last year. And I think that all of this led to a net income that was 4 times greater, going from 1.5 to 3.1%, almost 4 times the nominal value. Leverage dropped. Of course, we had the IPO, we had some acquisitions, and this leverage could have been about 2.3 compared to last year if we had not performed the IPO or the M&As. So we really had an increase in the receipts, and you see that we are a business that consumes a lot of working capital, but we've had very good performance. If we don't consider the IPO and M&As, then we were able to have about 1/3 of our debt going to long term. In the closing in September, long term, like 1.5 years, but it's still a lot better than what it was before in the same period. And we keep on this provision PDD that's low despite the strong growth, which demonstrates our capacity to grant credit and to receive. And then here in the working capital, we see a 2-day worsening in the stability of the working capital, but we performed an analysis without Ferrari Zagato, because when you consolidate the balance sheets, you also bring in the inventory, the debt, and you sometimes don't consider the past results. So if you were to exclude the data from Ferrari Zagato, we have an improvement of 19 days in the working capital compared to the same period last year. So we're not placing in the working capital reported here this result from the past of Fad Zagato, but we're better when it comes to working capital. So now just to give you an overview on the history, ever since 2017, we increased by 1.5 times the number of stores, 50% or a bit more in the amount of technical consultants on the field. And when we look at the revenue, we increased by 40% in the LTM and 37% when compared to the closing last year, almost 32%. And now our LTM, when we consider that the Q4 is a very strong quarter, when compared to the closed year, we already seen an evolution in this little ladder here going from 1.5 billion, reaching 5.5 billion now in the LTM. So significant results also in the LTM of same-store sales now in this quarter, with the closed quarter 24% compared to 23%. And we have stores that continue to sell more and have productivity, even in mature stores for more that are open for more than 4 years. So we continue to gain share. When we talk about EBITDA, we have the closing of the LTM with 347 and a margin that's better as well. So you can see a little ladder here with the margin percentage as well, where you have these gains in productivity and scale, better purchases. Our net income is already closing about 30% higher than what was closed in 2020. And our ROIC is ending at 18.8 in the LTM compared to 16 last year. This ROIC is better than what was been reported here because we're also using the items from the working capital for Ferrari Zagato, and we are not considering the EBIT for Ferrari Zagato in this amount. So this number will get better as we improve the results of the acquisition. Once again, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with everyone. And now we'll pass on the word to Mark Teixeira, the CEO of the Northern and Midwest regions, so that we can talk about the next steps a bit more. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Polici. Good morning, everyone. Moving ahead, we're going to share some information that's important, and it will be very important for the future of the company. In our expansion plan, we completed the first and last quarter on the pathway to deliver our organic plan. So we opened and launched 13 new stores in the first 9 months, and we're on the right pace to have the 7 next ones launched now in the fourth quarter. An important highlight at this moment is that in these 7 regions of these stores, we already have the commercial area working, identifying customers, getting orders according to our commercial strategies. And these new stores already have the Agrogalaxy brand that's recognized not only in the investor market, but also by our customers. And this is super important for brand recognition. And moving ahead on the next slide, slide 25, we are going to, as mentioned last month, CADE, the antitrust body, approved the AgroCat deal. The highlight we want to share with you is that AgroCat, along with our M&A strategy, brings into the Agrogalaxy universe an excellent company with over 2 decades of history, and thanks to an exceptional team, where we have unique management in this region. So it's a 100% complementary deal. So we're going to be entering a region that we weren't in before with over 3 million hectares and a major potential for growth. And finally, this deal will also bring to us 11 new stores and a revenue above 800 million reais with over 400 million reais in inputs with the last 12-month base for June 2021. Our expectation is to have the closing of this deal in the first quarter next year and thus capture these results in the next year. Now I'm going to pass on the word to Alex to talk about our plan for integration. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. And well, today I wanted to update you on our PMI. So we are going to talk about Boa Vista, Zagato, and Agrocat. Based on our results, I can mention that our approach has been very successful. So we started off with Boa Vista here. We ended the integration with an integrated team doubling in the specialty mix, going from 3.5 to 7.4, and a growth in our revenue of 63% in the period from April to September year over year. So now, as we talk about Ferrari Zagato, the connection with the team is going really well. And when we performed our analysis for the prioritization of these topics, we decided to not mess too much with the company at this moment, uh, and thus really make the team focused in this delivery in 2021. So now I can say that even with our entry, the team did not lose traction in the field. And when we look at the results in September, the comparative was a result of 64% in the revenue. So the year is better compared to the previous year. And we were able to capture these opportunities in the field. And at AgroCatch, we had the approval with Kaji, and now we're engaging the entire team to focus on the plan for 2022 that considers, of course, the entire PMI process in the company. The final message here is that our approach for the integration and our knowledge in the sector is being very successful. And all of the PMIs are really under control. And we've also delivered value to our shareholders as proposed. Thank you very much, and I'll pass on the word to Shayla. Well, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you once again. And these results that are so important for the third quarter, which is already a quarter that is extremely significant within our seasonality and process. Um, and we're very happy that farmers were able to plant in this window, and this indicates that they'll have excellent harvest in soy. So everything is moving along very well for our farmers and the farmers in our area of performance. So I want to talk about digital a bit, give you some updates on our digital initiatives. We are transforming the company so that we can digitalize the culture as well and help farmers to also transform themselves within their property. So let's talk about 2021. I'm not going to get into details, but we started this initiative in 2020, actually. We talked about this a lot if you've been watching our live sessions and monitoring our earnings call. So an update on 2021. During the farmer journey, we went from 1.2 billion was digital enabled, and some points of this journey were done at least one point was done digitally. We launched the app. We already have 4,100 producers and farmers registered in our base, and Boa Vista and Ferrari Zagato still haven't been receiving this app yet. We're in this process still, and a significant base also of our services of 3.5 million hectares, which have already been mapped out within our app. And we've also launched in September our program for loyalty, the Agrogalaxy Club with 561 farmers registered in the launching month. We are in full swing to help farmers really sign up into our loyalty and point program. Then we've also updated some issues on the bot Daji, this robot and that's inside the e-commerce and app as well. So these technical items that we're launching within the system are always really connected with our campaigns. So we've just launched this month the Safra Nutritiva with all the technical items that are related to nutrition, and this we also have an MVP of the CTV store, which is this technical consultant store, which is kind of a warm up for our e-commerce. Our e-commerce will also be open to customers, but each individual technical consultant will have their own stores So we're really an omni-channel process, and we want farmers to have the same experience in the store as they have in the digital tools. And the big news is that we've launched our vertical for services that are called AgroCap, uh, connected with precision farming. We just launched an AgroCare, which starts off with precision farming, but we're going to also add all of the digital services or omni-channel options that Agrogalaxy will provide from now on. This will be our service ecosystem for farmers and all of the other activities that are connected in some way to these tools that we've launched. I'm not going to get into details about them, but I'm going to show you what we have up ahead for 2022 with e-commerce starting operation, and we really have orders performed entirely digitally by our customers, and we start monetizing our platform. So with agrocare and precision farming, we can start compensating all of our services and monetizing them and creating this ecosystem of services and additional monetization up ahead. We're going to improve precision farming, and we've done this in a more basic way, but now we have new features up ahead. We've already started off with insurance. We're going to be digitalizing all of the insurance aspects. So farmers will be able to hire insurance in a digital and quick way with just 2 clicks. And also thinking about digital credits, not only for inputs, but also for small other expenses that farmers have. And they're going to perform the rollout of all of the CTV store for all the companies. And we've been working on this MBB in Minas. And then from 2023 onwards, we have the seeds, and this we're preparing to really launch our marketplace. And my our logic is that first we need to structure our inputs and how we sell to then sell to third parties to start commercializing from our marketplace with my over 30,000 farmers. And we're going to improve precision agriculture and also funding and insurance. We plan to sell these insurances, uh, but finally we want to reach our prescriptive recommendation where we want to head in the future. And in the future, we want to have technical recommendations. And now that's pretty much it. I want to pass it on back to Welly's. I'm happy to be here, and I thank you for all your time and attention. And we are heading towards the end of our presentation. I'd like to first of all thank you all for your presence today as you were here to share this time with us. We are very proud of the results that we've had up until now, and our commitment with these investors that support us is on these slides here. So we want to focus on what we've been doing in a very positive and professional way, capturing a lot of value. We want to keep our avenues for value generation, which is our growth and the optimization of our operation and acceleration of digital, and really being focused on M&As that can add value to the company. Within all of this, we have our 10 projects that we've worked on. But by the end of the day, we always want to compensate the capital that's placed here in the company. So for us, the ROIC as an indicator will be something that we will be pursuing at all times. Improving productivity for this company is our number one objective as we are here with you. We want to grow with productivity, grow by delivering results. This is our commitment here as we reach the end of our presentation today. I will now pass on the word back to our operator so that we can begin our Q&A session. Thank you very much once again. Now we're going to begin our session for Q&A. I would like to remind you that if you have a question, you may submit you click on the Q&A icon on the bottom part of the screen, write your name, company, and language to enter the queue. As you're announced, a request to activate your mic will appear on the screen. and then you must activate your mic to submit your question. We'd ask you to please submit the questions all at a single time. Well, let's move on to our first question from Leonardo Alencar from XP Investments. We'll open up your microphone now, Leonardo, so you could submit your question. Leonardo Alencar, please, you may proceed.
Bom dia a todos.
Well, good morning,
Parabéns,
everyone.
Welles,
And congratulations,
todo mundo, Welles,
and
Pulit,
everyone.
Marco, Sheila,
Pulici,
Alex, Daniel
Mark,
pela
Sheila,
apresentação
Alex, and Danielle
e
for
pelos
the
resultados
presentation,
também, resultados
and
muito
also
bons.
for the results
Eu
that
tenho
were
três
very positive.
perguntas,
I have three
seriam três
questions.
follow-ups em
These would be
relação a
like
todos os
three
pontos
follow-ups
destacados,
about
né?
all of the
Em
points you
relação a
highlighted
fertilizantes e
about
defensivos, vocês
fertilizers
comentaram
and
bastante sobre
defensives.
a safra de
You
verão e sobre
mentioned the
a
summer
estratégia da
harvest and
Agrogalaxy de conseguir entregar o volume, né?
and the
Preço é uma
strategy
segunda
for
discussão nesse sentido,
Agrogalaxy,
mas conseguir garantir volume para
and
os
in this way
produtores.
we
Mas
can
pensando até
guarantee
não
this
só na safra
volume.
verão, pensando no milho
And
safrinha,
when we
pensando até
think
na
about
safra
the
do ano
corn and
seguinte,
the
se
small
já tem
harvest in
estratégias em
next
curso
year,
para poder
are
garantir
there
esse
already
volume, até para
strategies
poder
underway to
garantir, então,
ensure this
que no
volume
próximo ciclo
and
vocês também vão
guarantee that in the
conseguir
next
entregar isso, e é
cycle
para
you'll also be able to
entender um pouquinho
deliver
também a
this
dinâmica de
and to also
margem da
understand
operação de
the
fertilizantes defensivos
dynamic for the
frente a esse
margins
cenário
and
de preços mais
operation
altos dos
considering the
produtos.
scenario.
A segunda
Um,
pergunta,
Well, the
eu
second
vi que
question
fertilizantes
is I saw
especiais
that
e sementes
special
tiveram uma
fertilizers
participação
and
maior
seeds
dentro
had
da
a
receita
bigger
total, que acho que são dois
share
pontos
in the
favoráveis,
total
dada a
revenue,
margem
which are
bruta
two
dessas
favorable
operações.
points
Eu
about
queria
the
entender um
gross
pouquinho
margins of these
como que
operations.
foi construído,
And I want
então,
to understand
essa maior
how you
participação.
built this greater
Sementes, imagino
participation
que
with
aumente
seeds.
capacidade, mas a
I
parte de
imagine there's an
fertilizantes
increase in
especiais também, como é que vocês
capacity,
conseguiram, então,
and
trazer
also with
mais
the
volume de
special
fertilizantes
fertilizers, how you be
especiais,
able to
tá?
bring in
Até
a
na
bigger
leitura de
volume
private
of
label, se
special
pudesse atualizar a
fertilizers in
gente
the
um pouco
private
sobre isso
label,
também.
and
E a terceira
maybe give
pergunta,
us an
até
update.
pedindo
And
um
a
pouco
third
mais
question
de
would be
cor em
about
cima da parte de
some more
same-store sales, se
information
vocês
on
podem falar
same-store
um pouco
sales. Could you maybe
da
talk
mesma
about
leitura, só que
the same
regionalizando
understanding,
ela,
but
né?
more like
Então, se realmente
regionalizing it? So
entre as regiões do país, entre as
between regions
localidades
in the
das
country and
lojas, se o
locations of the
performance de
stores,
same-store
if
sales
the
foi
performance of
homogêneo, se a
same-store
gente
sales
consegue
was
enxergar algum tipo de mudança nesse
homogeneous,
sentido,
or
se
if we
puder dar um
can
pouquinho mais de
notice
cor
any
nesse.
kind of shift in
É
this
isso, obrigado.
sense. That's it. Thank you very much. And so thank you, Leonardo, for the questions. Now we're going to split this into three parts, right? And how we would answer this at the end, we almost have like a fourth question, right? But after, I would like Pulici to maybe talk about the same-store sales issue. And when it comes to input, what has really occurred is that we have a limitation in the supply of some products. So as I mentioned, we've been doing pretty well for the summer harvest, and at this moment we been working on some areas that have continued to plant with the soy and corn, and we noticed that we'll be delivering everything, and we have everything organized to meet the needs of our customers. The smaller harvest, the interim harvest is already knocking on our doors. So all of our performance with the suppliers, and here I can see clearly that the critical volumes Agrogalaxy already has really helps us with our conversations with suppliers. Um, with all due respect and partnerships, they really understand the level of our commitment with customers and also with our investors. So for the 23 harvest, I could say 22 and 23 that we have already been working at this moment on this, and we brought a professional that is highly prepared to perform the sourcing work, working with supplying providers, and we're already working on a plan for this. So as we know all of these limitations, we need to start way before to guarantee that our customers are well serviced. And we will be committing also to what we have been guaranteeing for our suppliers. This is our guidance within our company. Now, when we talk about margins, obviously the increase in prices and the percentage margins continue to remain. But when it comes to a volume of margins, we bring more value in-house. So this helps us. Obviously, we have a point of concern with our customer to have this exchange relationship that is very good in the package of inputs and the price as well in the final product. So before passing this on to Pulici, I would like to ask Shayla to talk about our recommendation for the PTA. So why are we improving this mix of products and how we've been working on this really becoming a reality in Agrogalaxy? Yes, so it's great. I really want to answer this question. Um, it's really our intention to shift this mix. So we call these specialists in productivity. We have a technical team that does not sell. They're just dedicated to studying and recommending the seeds. And we had this team just for the specialties, as we mentioned, the inoculants. And now this year we started to open up as a recommendation also from Marco Teixeira. So we have the same team actually working with seeds only. So it's really intentional, and this team with high performance technically, and our specialists of productivity. So this mix comes from the work and the other things customers buy, but these ones we sell. And besides this, we have what we call PTA. We have over 2,000 SKUs, and we really work on um, seminars, technical trainings, and for the products that are part of our PTA, our Agrogalaxy technical portfolio. We tested this, so when you hear the CTA, these are our farms. We have three CTAs. So sometimes you have like, oh, do you have this product? Yes. We first test all of this in our locations, and if the product really has a good technical fit and it's good for our farmer and has good costs and good profitability, then they enter the PPA. So that's when we authorize them, and then they get into the specialist team. So this is the fruit of the intentional work we have to improve the mix. But we prove to the farmer that they produce more when they use all of our recommendations technically. Great. Now we'll talk about same-store sales. I'm not going to disclose the results per region in the Midwest because, we have different boards or directors in the regional. In the Midwest and the North, we have the East and West. In the South, we have Mato Grosso do Sul and Paraná and São Paulo. So, but between the North and the South, I'm not going to disclose this number specifically, but there's a bit more same-store sales in the Midwest region stores. These are stores that are a little greater. We notice a bit more expansion in the area, as well as the conversion of the farming regions for the soy and corn areas. So you have a trend of having a bigger area of same-store sales or expansion in the Midwest. So in the South and Paraná, for example, you have no more hectares to be planted. People are already planting in soy and corn, and there's no more area there to plant. So you have an increase in this Midwest compared to the South. I hope we answered everything here. I think someone closed their mic. Leonardo Conte, we'll open up your mic now.
Pronto, liberou aqui. Polite respondeu
Thank you.
sim. Elis, obrigado.
Yes,
Sheila,
you did
obrigado.
answer that.
Só um
Thank you very
follow-up
much.
rápido.
Just a quick follow-up
Acho que são
here.
dois pontos
I
interessantes,
think
né?
you have
Um
two
que foi
interesting
o
points.
comentário do
One
Elis a respeito do
was Wally's
sourcing, que eu acho
comment
que
about
talvez isso
sourcing.
fique cada vez
I
mais
think this will
estratégico
become
pensando aqui
more
para frente.
strategic when you
Mas quando
think
vocês
about
falam de
the future. But
sourcing, é no
when we talk
sentido
about
de
sourcing,
relacionamento
is this related
comercial,
to the
dessa
commercial
previsibilidade.
relationship
Isso
and
envolve
predictability?
eventualmente compra
Does this
estratégica ou não?
involve
É realmente só essa
strategic
questão de
purchases,
contratos e uma
or is
garantia um
this
pouco
just
mais
the issue with the
assertiva disso?
contracts
E
and
um
maybe
outro
a more
follow-up,
precise
até a Sheila
guarantee of
comentou
this? And
bastante da
another
parte de
follow-up
digital.
is about
Acho que a gente viu
digital. So
processo de
I think
construção
we
dessas
noticed
vendas
a
digitais
process
muito
for the
forte ali durante
construction of these
a pandemia, 2020
digital
principalmente.
sales.
É claro que 2021 acho que
And
ainda
of
tinha
course, in
muita aceleração.
2021, we
Eu
still
queria
had
ter
a lot of
uma leitura
acceleration
sobre
on
isso,
this,
né? Se
but I wanted to
eventualmente vocês
understand if
enxergam essa
maybe
continuidade,
you
dado que o
look at
agro
this
ainda não é totalmente
continuity considering
conectado,
that
se teve um
it's
pouco
not
de
completely connected
menor
and maybe you
interesse,
have a
dado
bit of a
que o
less
fluxo
interest
começou a voltar, até para poder
since this
entender um pouco,
flow started
comparando com os
recovering, and just
peers,
to
né? Então,
understand that
a
when you
oferta
compare
ou
with
o
with
serviço
your peers,
prestado da
the
Agrogalaxy na
offers
frente
and the
digital, se tem algum
services,
comparável no mercado
if there's
também. Então,
some
um
peer
pouco mais de cor
comparable
na
in the
parte de
market,
digital.
and a bit more color in digital. Great, Leonardo. We're going to be adding on these 2 points. When you talk about sourcing, you helped us answer this with the point of identifying your suppliers and operationing this and a strategic purchase or supply, searching for alternatives. And this is the work. So this area is under leadership from Marco, and he's been working a lot with the team in this sense. So when you talk about digital, I'm going to allow myself to answer this a bit. And what we see is that who started to use this digital access, and the company does not go back because a farmer that maybe took 2 or 3 hours to take a document to the store and reestablish this credit line or to sign a document could also maybe save all of their time and dedicate their time to other functions that are more productive. And this is the same thing with our team. Now the CTV does not need to be activated by the customer to be releasing this product. Customers can do this through the app. So the pandemic was really catalyzing this digitalization process, no doubt. But my vision is that this is here to stay because you have productivity everywhere you look. So we have the debureaucratization of the system. And for us, digitalization is about this. It's not only e-commerce, it's about creating different forms of access for our customers and make our team more productive. This is our focus for digitalization.
E só para fechar,
And well, maybe I could complement this very quickly. I think the way we do this, so I see a crescent in this view, as Welly's mentioned, our focus is gaining productivity in digital. And since this is maybe only 10% of what we would like to do, we have also been more and more taking new features to be able to keep agriculture farmers connected and interested. So in that presentation, I think it's important to mention our next feature is the barter contract where they can quote and close all of their negotiation for grains through the app. So we always think about 2 clicks at most for the transaction. This is being tested in Rural. And as soon as we complete this MVP test, we're also going to be rolling out to the entire company with this barter feature. So I see that there's this crescent because we're transferring all of the bureaucracy that they had to do at the store physically or with the CTV into digitalization. Now we say that our physical stores are always going to be an environment for experience, exchanging information, and customers don't need to go to the store. They need to desire to go to the store. So this is the mentality we have in digital.
ótimo. Agradeço as
Great.
respostas.
Thank you
Parabéns
for
a
the
todos.
answers.
Obrigado.
Congratulations to everyone. Thank you very much, Leonardo Alencar. Now we're going to head to the next question. The next question is from Carlos Zaheda from Condor Insight. So now you can integrate a vision of how the company's been doing in the fourth quarter of 2021. And the second question is how you're looking at the year of 2022. And what are the main risks and opportunities in the company? I will answer part of this answer and Polici will help me here. Of course, we can't give you a guidance on how we're going to end the year, but I think we're really in line when it comes to delivering what we have forecasted Um, and we always show the seasonality aspect. We are being very active this year, a lot more than last year, in capturing these orders and building our portfolio. And now it's a moment where we really want to transform this into business. So we are moving in this direction, and we see that the market is also heading in a very positive direction when it comes to the climate and even the price of the commodities. And this has helped us a lot here. When it comes to risks, there are inherent risks that are inherent to an industry like agribusiness with a climate that's really ideal till now. But of course, the demand for these commodities and what we've been looking at so far continues to be really heated. Uh, and Brazil becomes more and more competitive uh, in this compared the scenario with agricultural commodities. So now we believe this is a moment for us to consider this advantage and really grow. This is something that we are really concerned with how we grant credit to our customers so that they can guarantee our receipts. So what Polici has demonstrated in our PDDs really demonstrates that we are heading in this direction very well up until now. Polici, if you want to add on anything, please feel free to. I think I just mentioned that next year we have all of the pro forma results for Boas Vista, and Cerrado Zagato. So compared to this LTM that does not have Cerrado Zagato until September, we just have Boa Vista from April onwards. We will bring in these operations in the full year. So I believe that this will be one more opportunity. When it comes to prices, there's another opportunity also for fertilizers. If we can work on this well with the suppliers and guarantee the supplies, we will obviously have an increase in the average price in the year. And this could be a positive opportunity for us. And then we would have to have significant work with supply and bring this in-house as well. Well, maybe Marco, he wanted to talk about the supply a bit. So I think there's a big concern on this topic again, and I just want to reinforce that Wallis has already mentioned this very well, but we have some strong work with the suppliers, and we've been working together in this win-win scenario, and we've been very close to the suppliers to be able to cover any kind of problem. It's still a bit early for 2022 and 2023 from a price and market condition, and we will continue to make this effort. But we really believe we'll leave this harvest now with some work that's a little different than what happened in the market, and we'll continue with our suppliers and customers in our commercial team area to be able to consider the uncertainties. It's still a bit early. A lot of things can happen, and there's always some news, but we're really dedicated to keeping up with what's going on. And we'll keep the market informed about our actions. Well, thank you very much, Carlos Zaheda, for your question. We'd like to let you know that if you have another question, you can select the Q&A icon on the bottom part of the screen and write your name, company, and language to enter the queue. The next question is from Vinicius Gimelo Miranda from BTG Pactual. Vinicius' question is, what's the main strategy for the company from the perspective of credit? And for the barter operations, what's the objective of selling this credit portfolio to some other player? I'll get this one. Well, from a credit perspective, I believe you are talking to trying to separate this. This is not very clear if it's for customers or suppliers, but from the supplier's perspective, with the accounts payable, we have worked on credit along with the area and department from Marco with supplies to be able to have additional credits, and you can see this effect in our working capital and major expansion as well, and the accounts payable. So we've been able to, especially with fertilizers, expand our portfolio and our payment terms with fertilizers, which was something that is not very common in this distribution area. And when it comes to credit for customers, as you've seen, we've been able to keep a PDD that's really low. We have been also looking at some opportunities in the market for fintechs or banks that would like to partner with us. And we could really use our expertise and credit capillarity. And we have 60 credit analysts on the field. So we have a lot more than some banks, right, that have very few people analyzing agro. So we see opportunities to be have partners where we don't lose our credit specialty. Not only credit, but it's also the collection mechanism. So we have our team on the field that really helps with credit collection as well, and not just credit granting. So we are also investigating some projects to maybe bring in a partner to deleverage or remove a bit of these accounts receivable from our balance without losing the specialty as well, which is granting credit. So I think that's pretty much it. I hope to have answered the question. And then you talked about barter also. Barter will continue to grow. We have a super partnership with the trading companies, and we don't see ourselves as a competitor for tradings. We're a consolidator for volumes to work with these trading companies, and we have a partner that's very positive with all of them. Thank you very much for your question. I'd like to remind you once again that if you have a question, you may submit the Q&A option in the bottom part of your screen and select your name, company, and language to enter the queue. The Q&A session is officially ended. And now we would like to pass on the word once again for the final remarks of the company. Well, just thank you all for attending. I want to take advantage of this moment to reinforce that we are committed to continuing to search for opportunities in this input sector in Brazil, really valuing the productivity issue and also the entire work of facing challenges coming from the business, especially at this moment where we're talking about supply. And on the same hand, we have a very focused team that really is aware of agribusiness, and they will be working intensely to improve the services for our customers and contribute and return to our investors. So thank you once again for your participation today, and we hope to be available also through our RI department, and each of us as well are available to answer any of the questions you may have in the future. So thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care. The earnings call related to the third quarter of 2021, Agrogalaxy is officially ended. The RI department is available to answer any other questions that you may have. Thank you very much for participating and have a great day.